as a result of making the move into the existing building. I happen to like where it is because it's convenient, but the economics of the issue appears to be weighing very heavily in favor of the move to Ossipee.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comments. Someone else wish to speak? Willie, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Willie Farnham from Tamworth. I was on the UNH Cooperative Extension Advisory Council for 6 years. And when I first went on the council, it was housed in Ossipee. The breakdown of the rent there occurred, and we moved to Conway. And subsequently, there was a lot of talk. The UNH Cooperative Extension staff and advisory council worked on plans for the nursing home location. That's what everybody had in their mind was going to happen, and it seems in the last 3-4 months something's changed. And my concern is that we're going to kick this can down the road, and it's going to cost us a lot more later on to solve the housing problem. We have an opportunity here. We have a building that part of it's going to be fixed. Let's fix the 3,000 square feet for the cooperative extension. Let's bring them to the county facility where they can be part of the county facility. They offer a tremendous amount of programs that are helpful. I mean, jail inmates, money programs, food programs. Everybody goes out to eat at restaurants, safe serve. Remember, where'd that come from? Cooperative extension. Let's keep them in Ossipee, center part of the county, and let's not kick the can down the road, because it's only going to be more expensive when you go to pick it up later. Thank you.
Thank you, Selectman Farnham. Mayor, please introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, Maynard Thompson, Freedom. Thank you very much, Representative McCarthy. One virtue of keeping the extension program in its current location that hasn't been mentioned is that it retains the option, which you have said is not on the table for discussion tonight, of stopping the taxpayer subsidy to the county extension program. I hate to see us commit ourselves in such a way that effectively denies the ability of the people of this county to withdraw support from the county extension program should they deem that desirable to do. And to the extent that we commit resources to a facility for them here, we are in effect prejudging the outcome of that discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Willie, something new?
Well, I'd like to make a comment on that.
Well, I'd rather not go back and forth.
Well, I mean, all right, another comment. That space, once it's developed, would be usable for other things, not necessarily the county extension. Point.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir.
Jeff Farrell from Wolfboro.
Jeff, thank you.
My understanding for the justification for the new nursing home was the old building was not suitable for renovation and it would be too expensive to retain that building. And the implication, if not the promise, is we were going to do away with the overhead and the expense of retaining the old building in exchange for the cost of building a new one. Is that not a correct understanding of the nursing home justification process when that occurred?
Jeff, there is validity in what you say by some of the delegation in their opinion. To the commissioners, they have said as of late that the core building was not so much the issue with the old nursing home, it was the wings, and I fully understand and I fully appreciate what your statement is.
What is the current decision? I hear we're going to tear 2 wings down, keep 2, and the core. Has a decision been made with respect to that old building?
There has not been a decision made to that. When I made that was a statement brought forward by the majority of the commissioners in a vote that they had in a meeting on. Representative Fleck had asked very specifically for months now what exactly was the need, not so much what the wants were, but what the needs were for housing, not only this, but other potential uses. And the commissioners at this point have not come up with numbers. What they've come up with is that their desire is to save the core and 2 wings at this point. So it has not been accepted by by the delegation at this time.
It seems out of order then to talk about 3,000 feet of utilization in what may be a 15 or 20,000 foot project until you go back and decide with some certainty what you're going to do with that building, whether you're going to save it or discard it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and that's what the delegation has asked the commissioners to do. Someone new, please. Henry, I'll come back to you. Okay. Yes.
Dan Mysteer, Connolly's son. Just, Mr. Chairman, at some point during this meeting, would you be willing to ask a straw poll of the audience of how many people would like to keep it in Conway as opposed to moving it to Ossipee?
We will consider your request.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Is there anyone else that wishes to speak a second time? Would you like to speak first time, sir?
First time. Are there any other possibilities of that other space? Has that been explored? NRCS, other government entities that might come down and rent space if some of that other additional more than 3,000 feet was fixed up?
Thank you. Your name, please. I'm sorry.
Bill Stockman, Upton Borough.
Thank you, Bill. What the uses might be for that building has been explored for some time with no certainty by the commissioners, and there is some ongoing thoughts what might occupy that space, but there's not been anything definite brought to the delegation. It is the wish of the delegation to have those concrete items brought forward in our next August meeting. Anyone else wish to speak for the first time?
Yeah, I'd like to speak.
Yes, thank you.
I'm Dave Sorensen. I'm County Commissioner. I'm Chairman of the Board of Commissioners. I'd like to correct this gentleman back here who said that our old nursing home wasn't fit and we had to build a new one. It wasn't fit for residents to live there because they got two people sharing a room, 2 rooms share a bathroom. And you can think of all the kinds of diseases and so forth that would shift around with 4 people using the same toilet. The other comment is that in our old nursing home, we had to match the residents female to female and not female to male. Some may have liked to have it that way. But, so we had problems in filling our beds, where we had 96 people filling those beds out of 103. In our new nursing home, they're all going to have single rooms. We should have no problems filling every single room. In fact, now, within the last 6 or 8 months, Sandy, you can correct me, we've had a waiting list of about 30 people wanting to get into our nursing home, especially to get into the new one. So to say that it wasn't fit to be in is strictly for the residents. Okay? Yes, the roof leaked. There are other problems, narrow corridors. There was no storage. There was storage of dirty clothes, clean clothes in the corridors. No place for people to visit their relatives or the residents that are in the nursing home. I mean, it was just, it's 40 years old. It was built for 40 years ago, served a purpose then, it really doesn't serve the purpose now. So the reason to build a new one was to get those residents out of something that should not be in that condition right now.
Thank you. We're a little bit off topic, but if you would, sir, your name, please.
Dana Street of Ossipee. I'd like to speak to the Commissioner's comment and then also the young man that raised the first question. 6 years ago, we decided that a nursing home was needed because every roof in the whole nursing home leaked, whether it's the main building or the wings. That's number one. Not just because the rooms were too small. The other thing was the alarms were going off because the wiring needs to be replaced. It was water was coming down into the circuit breaker boards, and the fire department was coming up on false alarms. What I'm trying to say is you have a great expense to upgrade that nursing home to bring in anybody. Now, whether it's the Extension Service or AMC, I don't care who it is. So when you say that you can recoup the expenses in 3 to 5 years, I want to make sure that the taxpayers of Ossipee are not subsidizing another form of government bill.
Thank you, Dana. Anyone else wish to speak back on the subject, if we could, please? Is there anyone that spoke that wishes to speak a second time? Yes.
Because the county farms here in the sense of moving the cooperative extension down here, it was mentioned about there might be a loss of foot traffic. Well, we're getting some public transportation finally in this area, and it can stop there. I mean, there are ways for people to get to this. It is centrally located, but one of the primary things I really like about the concept of it moving down here is it can associate with the county farm. There was a very brief discussion that the advisory council had beforehand, and that's a very exciting concept for the organization to be that close to the county farm. There's a tremendous amount of interest in local agriculture, and so much more can be done by having it located here. And I won't go into a whole long list of things that got discussed, but it's extensive. So I consider the movement, bringing it down here, I mean, money aside, I think the argument being made is that the money, if we're going to spend, if county tax money is going to be spent for rent, I just assume pay it back to the county as to pay it to somebody else. But that aside, it just strikes me as an eminently sensible move to bring the cooperative extension down here. I mean, we even looked at it, everybody thought it was a good idea a few years ago to the point of looking to build a whole new building. We have a perfectly adequate building, needs some refurbishment, but it's going to be a lot less expensive to refurbish existing space than it is to build a new space. So, but the question was, is it going to move down here? I think it's a wonderful idea. I hope everybody in the room agrees that it's a great, sensible idea to move cooperative extension down here. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Representative Babson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We spent a lot of time talking about how much it would cost to renovate the new building. It's time that we sit down and think about how much it's going to cost us if we take it all down. You're going to have to build a new building for the pellet burner. You're going to have to build do something for maintenance. You're going to have to do something for the electrical room. They want to put the laundry's got to go in there. You got to wash people's clothes. That's going to be an additional expense. It's going to go on year after year. So it isn't just a case of how much money we're going to spend to renovate it. It's how much it's going to cost if we have to replace it. And I hope we'll move here and move into that formula.
Thank you, Representative. Anyone else wish to speak? We're going to close off this meeting. Henry?
It was asked whether or not you wanted to do a straw poll with public to see who supported. Would you consider doing that?
Personally, I'm not a big fan of straw polls, but we can, not knowing where the room is, if there are people present in the room that would wish to see that the cooperative extension would be moved from its present location to the county, would you just please raise your hand at this point? Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak at last opportunity? I'm sorry. Chip, please introduce yourself.
Chip Albee, along with David Babson's comment. We've gotten an estimate, I think the commission has an estimate of $100,000 to tear down 2 wings, which is approximately a third of the building. So one could presume that to tear the whole building down is going to cost $300,000. So at that point, you spent $300,000 and you have nothing. If you were to invest, as one gentleman said, $400,000 into the core of the building, you end up with a space of 20,000 square feet that you own for somewhere in the $25 a square foot range. You know, I challenge anybody in this room to build anything of any size for $25 a square foot. So I think we need to look at it from that pragmatic standpoint at the very least. And as far as the cooperative extension is concerned in their operation, I think one part of it that sort of gets missed is the family aspects and the financing aspects. They're the only people that are actually certified to do the class that is mandated by the federal bankruptcy court for everyone who files Chapter 7 or Chapter 13. That's a